Northerners, including Sheikhs, Imams, have been coming to me and asking about Peter Obi, Ezefe Emeka. With few months before the 2023 presidential election, former governor of Anambra State, Chukwuemeka Ezefe, has stated that some people from the northern region of the country have been coming to meet him for consultations about the candidacy of Mr. Peter Obi. It would be recalled that Mr. Peter Obi, who joined the Labour Party a few months ago, has been attracting support from different quarters. Speaking to Sun newspaper in an exclusive interview, the 84-year-old politician said even the Muslim clerics had come to him in recent past to make inquiry about Peter Obi and political matters in general. According to him, they see him as somebody with vast experience about politics. Hear him. Northern people, Sheikhs, Imams are coming to me and asking me about politics and about Peter Obi. The Sun newspaper quoted Chukwuemeka Ezefe as saying during the interactive interview. Speaking further, Ezefe appeals to Nigerians to allow God's will to prevail. So we Nigerians should allow God to do his will in Nigeria. Well, at the end of the day, as much as God has his will, we believe that God has planned, Nigerians themselves will have to decide. As they say, majority carries the vote. And if most of Nigerians decide that Peter Obi is their president, well, Peter Obi will be the president. Of course, before the elections, everyone tries to, forecast and make their projections. I mean, projections is very positive because if you look at the voting population, statistically, in 2019, only 20 million people voted, and that's 20% of the Nigerian population. That is not good. That is very bad. And so with the rise of Peter Obi, we can see that on first basis, registration of voters, people are registering to get their private voters cards, which is for engagement in itself. Even though, yes, you can attribute or you can claim the rise in registrations to Peter Obi, the fact is engagement, is projected to be, to triple. We're talking almost 60% of the population would be engaged and actually look to actually vote. So that is already positive because whether it's for Peter Obi, for Tinubu or for Atiku, what we are saying is Nigerians being intentional to at least on the barest minimums, just engage. So whether you want to think that Peter Obi has, most of the population or how much percentage of the vote is going to go to what aspirant, that doesn't really matter. But there's also a correlation with Peter Obi's candidacy and the rise in voter registration, which is not bad, it's very positive. And in any ways, you find that the big parties, the ones that have been ruling for so long, the APC and the PDP, it's safe to say that, yes, of course they are threatened. They should be threatened. And so, whether you support him or not, his name is everywhere. Everyone is talking about Peter Obi. And so, whatever the situation is, the fact is, Peter Obi's name is just more relevant. Not that, of course, we have the likes of Tinubu and Atiku who have been relevant for so long. I mean, they've been in the political scene for almost, 20 years or even more. And then this fellow just comes out of nowhere and is in charge of the youth. And for a population, for Nigeria that has a very, young population, obviously it doesn't speak too well about, the older generation and, the lifespan of the average Nigerian. But we can still say that to a very large extent, if the most popular demographic are the youth, then, of course, it is really in their hands. As they say, it is a game of numbers and the majority carries the vote. So, again, with, the campaigns going on, it's more like, it's like a reverse, because what you would have is the big parties, doing their rallies, and everyone just follows. But what is happening is the Labour Party does something, the next thing, every other party follows what they do. And of course, it's obvious to Nigerians to say, okay, well, you are either copying this person or you are doing, I guess, a cheaper version or a less classy version of what the ruling party is doing. Not ruling party, but, you can say that in the court of public opinion, the Labour Party, you can say, is the ruling party. And so there's some people that, yes, they might not necessarily have anything against Peter Obi, but for the fact that this guy has just amassed so much support, you have the suspicious people. Why does everyone like this guy? It's not like they would, so it's like you have those that are not they're not in support of Peter Obi, and you have his supporters, and you have just ones that are just like, well, because you all like Peter Obi, I don't think I'd vote for him because there must be something fishy about this guy that's come out from nowhere and everyone just likes him. Why? He hasn't given a manifesto. And these are, of course, valid arguments. But then in scarcity of choice, and I guess in a position where Nigerians have had to choose the lesser of two evils, well, if you've not had a choice, if these are the options that you have, well, it depends on you. If you have three options of who to pick, and really, can you say one really has a choice? Because what if you don't like any of the three that are presented to you as presidential candidates? Then will you decide not to vote? So I guess of course, well, that is what has been happening. I guess the educated ones have decided, you know what, there's no point voting. Which, in all honesty, if you look at the facts and you argue, yes, you can say that there's no point voting. However, you also cannot complain when those that have decided and have engaged, either they've been manipulated or they've been forced or bribed. Factually, yes, they have decided your fate for at least the next 4 years. So engagement is very important, whether you like them or not, because these are individuals where, these are individuals that will decide your future. And more than anything, I think everyone focuses so much on the president and the vice president and the Senate president. Literally, that doesn't matter because, with how your government works. Again, I think one thing as well, understand the voting process also means you have to understand your system of government and understand your constitution, which, you can't really say the constitution is a scam, but that is an argument for another day. But understanding how your government works, literally your local government chairman, House of Representatives, House of Senate, those individuals that make up, the seats, why you're the ruling party is because your party has taken up so much seats at the different levels of power, the House of Representatives. And, these are the people, they make I guess you can say the legislative body that would actually need to have a closer relationship with their communities, and then in their numbers decide. You don't just leave the big voting to the president and the vice president and you say, yes, I've engaged. No, it doesn't come to that. For us to really make the change, it's not by going for the highest of positions, but really knowing who we're putting in power, where, they're voting. But again, that is in an ideal system where we know that corruption is less and there is no godfatherism or some sort of clique or cabal in politics. Well, there is and there will always be. So anyways, whatever your opinion is, the most important thing is for you, instead of complaining and saying, well, this is what has happened, the least you can just do is engage. Get your parents' orders card, I'd advise, and just vote. So yes, this individual has come out to say, everyone has come to me about Peter Obi. Well, obviously his name is there. He's a threat to other parties. Well, it is what it is. But what you think about it in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.